Yo, so what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video. And for today's video, as you can see, we're going to be doing a Jimmer Fredette career re-simulation. Jimmer, of course, was a super hyped up prospect. And let's see what could have happened in his career, because obviously in real life it did not pan out. So we threw him into the 2020 draft class, of course, and of course we upped his potential a little bit, because we want Jimmer to do good in the sim and just see how great he could have been potentially in the NBA as that three-point shooting phenomenon that everyone thought he might have actually been. But keep in mind with this, he did stay all 4 years in college, so Jimmer is going to be starting at 22, which is a little bit old for most prospects at this point. They don't usually stay all 4. So Jimmer Fredette actually goes number 1 overall to the Cleveland Cavaliers in this sim. Obviously in real life he went number 10 overall, but in this he did go number 1. So in year 1, let's look at this Cavaliers squad that Jimmer has around him. So he has Kevin Love, Montrezl Harrell, and of course the young tandem of guards in Collin Sexton and Darius Garland. So he does have some competition at that guard spot as far as playing time goes, but it looks like the rotation is going to be throwing him in as the starter right away at an 80 overall. So let's see if this man's career can really go insane, and let's see what happens. Giannis Antetokounmpo gets MVP in year 1, and our guy does not get Rookie of the Year. Jimmer does not get it. So let's see what his stats were actually looking like. 14.9 points per game. Up to an 82 overall now. Definitely not terrible, but you would like to see a little bit better as far as if you want to compete for Rookie of the Year. He did shoot 40% from 3, which is definitely a very good shooting percentage for a three-point shooter to just come in the league and be shooting off the rip. Year 1, we got Mavericks versus the Hawks in the finals. So Luka versus Trae, a real battle. Goes to Game 7, and Trae Young and the Hawks actually end up taking it. Trae Young MVP of the finals. Moving into year 2 here, we are still with the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course. Jimmer is now actually the highest overall player on this team at now an 85 overall. So we'll see what happens here. Honestly, I'm definitely super interested to see how he progresses. So in year 2 here, no real surprise, Luka Doncic getting MVP with a triple-double on the season. Very great stat line for him. But the more surprising thing is, only 2 years into this sim, our Cleveland Cavaliers are the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Jimmer putting up 19.2 points per game scoring already. Only behind Collin Sexton as far as the team goes scoring leaders. So first round, we got a matchup up against the Knicks, who I'm a little surprised to see in here. We do end up absolutely destroying them. Jimmer putting up the highest points in that game 5 with 20 points in that game. So round 2, we got the Philadelphia 76ers, of course, with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and we knocked them out as well in 6. Jimmer dropping 26, 10 for 10 from the free throw line in that game, as well as going 4 for 8 from 3. Eastern Conference Finals, we got a matchup up against last year's NBA champions, the Hawks, and surprisingly, we knocked them out in a clean sweep, 4-0. Trae Young drops 40 points, but it was not enough as our guy Jimmer drops 28 bomb to move us into the finals up against the Portland Trailblazers. So let's see how this one plays out. We get up 3-1, and of course we're going to hop into Simcast. And in Game 5, we could not get it done, as it looks like we are going to take the L right here, 137-129. Now the series is at 3-2. Hopefully we can end it right here. We are up 126-108 as Jimmer starts doing his moves. Passes it out to his boy Collin Sexton. And I'm not sure if they're really going to be able to get a bucket off here, in all honesty, with only 3 seconds. And they have a big lead. So no real big deal anyway. They grab the board, and that's looking like a GG for the Portland Trailblazers. So Jimmer Fredette brings the Cleveland Cavaliers to an NBA championship in only 2 years of this sim, which is clearly a telltale sign of how great this man's career could possibly be in this sim, especially because the team around him wasn't anything too special, in all honesty. They had a decent supporting cast, but no one that was a true star. Looking at the box score from that game, Dame Lillard doing his thing. Kevin Porter Jr. actually leading the team in scoring. Jimmer didn't even do anything really too much with only 16 points in that game. And at 85 overall, Kevin Love actually ends up getting the Finals MVP award for that. Moving into year 3 of the sim right here, Jimmer has progressed up to an 86 overall already. Montrezl Harrell at an 85, Kevin Love at an 84, Darius Garland at an 82, and Kevin Porter Jr. as well at an 82. It looks like Colin Sexton did end up leaving in free agency. Luka Doncic gets MVP back-to-back years now in year 3 as we finish the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Jimmer right behind Darius Garland as far as points per game, as well as shooting 44% from 3, so we definitely will take that. He is an absolute sniper from deep. Team's very much the same as it was at the beginning of the season, and our first round matchup is going to be up against the New York Knicks yet again. Quinn Cook, Victor Oladipo, Isaac Okoro, definitely a very good team. But thankfully, we do knock them out in 6 right here, 4-2. Looking at the scoring from that game, great game there from Darius Garland dropping 30. Jimmer not doing too much, but it is okay. Moving into the second round, up against a very good Magic squad. They have Jalen Green. They have De'Aaron Fox. Let's see how we will stack up against this team. They're pushing it to 7, and you never like that. Let's not blow a 3-1 lead. Of course, let's hop into Simcast and see how it actually ends up playing out. Alright, so here we are in Simcast, and as you can see, we end up actually flooding them kind of, 150 to 127, Jimmer dropping 26, leading our team. Eastern Conference Finals time. Who are we up against? The Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and actually DeMarcus Cousins. But we do knock them out in 5. Huge game there from Kevin Love, dropping 34 points to go along with 11 rebounds. We will take that from the old guy. Moving into the finals, back-to-back years, this time up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's not looking great for us. We find ourselves down 3-0. We get 2 games. We make it a series. We just came back. We won 3 straight, and we end up losing by 2 in Game 7. D'Angelo Russell Finals MVP. That was definitely tough, but at least it shows that we are very much dogs and can compete at every level. And look at this, in year 4, they signed Nikola Jokic in free agency, a 93 overall big man that will help us out a ton. Obviously, I want Jimmer starting, but him and Darius Garland pretty much, technically split time anyway. Luka Doncic gets MVP yet again, but this time, he's with the Detroit Pistons, actually, out of all teams. A little bit of a surprise to me. Looking at the standings, we actually missed the playoffs, pretty bad, which is surprising. With the addition of Nikola Jokic, I would have never thought that. Jimmer's points per game actually goes down to 14.2 points per game on the season. Pistons versus the Warriors in the finals, and Luka Doncic and the Pistons get themselves a finals championship. Moving into year 5, let's see what's going on now. I don't see Jimmer here anymore, so it looks like he did not decide to opt in and re-sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers in year 5. So let's see where Jimmer actually ended up going. So Jimmer definitely just did a kind of schemy move. Went to the Pistons, who obviously just won the championship last year and have the perennial MVP candidate in Luka Doncic. 89 Jimmer is going to be joining Luka Doncic, Clint Capella, and Jalen Johnson. It's going to be a pretty scary sight for the league. MVP yet again for Luka Doncic right here. Definitely interested to see how we did standings-wise, finishing as the number 2 seed in the East. Luka Doncic, of course, leading the team in scoring. We have Buddy Hield as well. Jimmer only 14.2 points per game, but no real surprise with all the other stars we have here that he is kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. Now, hopefully this bomb squad can actually show up in the playoffs, and we can get Jimmer yet another championship in his young career already. So we got a first-round matchup up against the Celtics, and honestly, they stood no chance as we 4-0 swept them. Jimmer only putting up 14 in that game, but he did go 4 for 5 from 3, so we will take that. Second-round matchup up against a very solid Nets team, and unfortunately, we did not show up, getting knocked out 4-2. Buddy Hield being the highest scorer in that game, followed by Jimmer. Looking at the championship right here, the Nets actually end up winning it all with Anthony Davis, so at least they won the championship, so it takes a little bit of the sting of getting knocked out. Cade Cunningham gets MVP. Do we make playoffs? We do, but we were the 7th seed, so I am a little surprised about that one. Luka Doncic still doing his thing, and it looks like, honestly, our playing time got cut a little bit yet again since they added Markelle Fultz as the backup point guard, and he is right around our level as far as overall goes, so we're pretty much splitting yet again, which kind of stinks. First round matchup up against the Nets, who obviously knocked us out last year, And another year, same results. We get 4-1 knocked out by the Nets in the first round. We got the Bulls versus the Jazz right here in the championship in the year 2026. And the Bulls and Jalen Green actually end up winning that 4-1. Moving into year 7 of the sim, is our guy Jimmer still hanging around here? He is. So we still have Luka Doncic. We still have Jimmer. Luka Doncic get MVP yet again with the Pistons. Looking at our standings, a big bounce back year this year, putting up 59 wins and being the number 1 seed. So we will take that. A very good season there from Jimmer in all honesty. First round matchup, we are up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have Trae Young and Bronny in the first round. But thankfully, we do knock them out. And they have Jokic, who we did obviously team up with a few years back, but we sweep them 4-0. We yet again meet this Nets team, and this time we finally end up beating them 4-1. Moving to the Eastern Conference Finals, up against last year's champions, Jalen Green and the Bulls. But this time we do knock them out 4-2, thankfully. Jalen Green dropping 42 there, but it was not enough to get it done. Championship here up against the Dallas Mavericks. Hopefully we can show up here as we have a very talented team. We're down 3-2, and unfortunately we end up getting knocked out in 6. Cade Cunningham getting Finals MVP. Luka dropping 40 was not enough. Year 8 right here. Jimmer has left, but they did add Taco Fall, so that's a fun little fact. I hate when it does this. We have to sim in about a week to see where Jimmer ends up actually getting signed. So look at the player finder and see where Jimmer has actually gone in his 8th year in the league. So Jimmer has joined the Indiana Pacers. So let's see what the squad is looking like. So yet again, they have Amani Bates, of course, and Karl Anthony Towns, which is amazing. But yet another team where there's another good point guard there that's going to be splitting time with us. Cade Cunningham, Finals regular season MVP. We finished as the number 2 seed in the East. Jimmer Fredette only putting up 12.1 points per game. Definitely kind of stinks that he's not getting as much playing time as he possibly could be because of all these other point guards on the teams that are pretty good. As you can see, he was getting 26 minutes. That just bumped him up to 27 a game. But at the end of the day, you know, I would like to see him getting a little bit more playing time, see just how good he actually could do statistic-wise in a season. Of course, he does have Amani Bates on the team, which will take away from him regardless. And look at this guy's name on the Knicks that we're playing. His name is Leftos. That's definitely interesting. So, first round matchup, we are going to Game 7 with this Knicks team, and let's see how it actually plays out. And we end up beating them 133 to about 110, so a pretty good flood right there. Jimmer doing his thing, of course. Our second round matchup is going to be up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, our former team. They do have Bronny, which is kind of interesting to see him following in LeBron's footsteps, but unfortunately we do get knocked out by them, as it's going to be Dallas Mavericks versus Chicago Bulls Finals. Cade Cunningham gets yet another Finals MVP. That kid is something else. Hopefully our luck can change a little in year 9, because it has been getting kind of annoying with just how close we've been to getting all these championships, and, you know, yet just not getting there, being on super talented teams, but we cannot achieve the ultimate goal. Of course, we did it once, but we want more than that. Jimmer Fredette now with the Pelicans. Let's see what this squad's looking like. Yet again, another team where there is a very good point guard there. De'Aaron Fox is going to be starting ahead of us, and we're going to be coming off the bench as the 6th man. LaMelo Ball getting a regular season MVP with the Denver Nuggets. And I guess this 1-2 combo at the guard really did not work out, as we are one of the worst teams in the league. Jimmer putting up 13.8 points per game. So not a great season whatsoever, as we're just going to go right in the year 10, because that was a very disappointing year. So where does Jimmer end up in year 10? Let's see. This man's signed all these one-year contracts at this point. 90 overall, Jimmer is with the Utah Jazz. So let's see what this Utah Jazz team is looking like. Finally, a team that does not have a star point guard to start above us. We have Anthony Edwards along our side, so we do like that. Luka Doncic getting yet another MVP with the Pistons. We do not make playoffs somehow with us and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards doing his thing. Jimmer back up to almost 20 points per game on the season, which is definitely a shame, because he had a really good year, but we could not make playoffs. And they still have not shown this man Jimmer enough respect to give him an all-star, even when he's having a very, very good season. Bulls versus the Thunder in the playoffs right here. Definitely should be a good series. And let's see how it actually ends up panning out real quick in the year 2030. So it looks like the Thunder are going to take this Greg Brown III, clutching up, making them win 4-1. Year 11 right here. And year 11 of Jimmer's career. Hopefully, I hope he signs a long-term contract very soon, because I'm getting tired of these one-year rentals, as he's now with the Philadelphia 76ers. So let's see what the Philadelphia 76ers are looking like. Do they still have Ben or Embiid? They do not. It's DeAndre Ayton and Jimmer pretty much as far as the real talent on that team goes. Mikey Williams gets a MVP season with the Pelicans right there, and we are one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. Not great. Jimmer, once again, doing his thing statistics-wise, getting close to 20 points per game, and a good season from DeAndre Ayton. But, of course, we want more than just a good statistical season. We want the wins to correlate. Here we go. Year 11, Jimmer is now with the New York Knicks. And let's see what this team is looking like at this point. I think Jimmer's honestly just trying to see how many teams he could possibly go to, and maybe even try to get all of them if he can. So let's look at this New York Knicks team. So he's going to be along Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. No real point guard here, so yet again, he will be able to thrive, getting about 31, 32 minutes a game. Bronny right there, MVP of the regular season with the Chicago Bulls. And we missed playoffs with only 20 wins. Wow. Over 20 points per game on the season for Jimmer yet again. But his statistics are not translating to wins, shooting just about 40% from three. Still not an all-star. And my man's Jimmer starting to get up there in age a little. Now at 34 years old. Pelicans versus the Bucks right here in the finals. Of course, Zion is actually on that Bucks team running their center position, which is kind of interesting. A little small ball. So let's see if it correlates to them winning a championship. And it does not, as the Pelicans and Mikey Williams actually end up winning it. Moving into year 13 of the sim, let's see where Jimmer ends up in year 13. So at 89 overall, Jimmer Fredette is now with the Los Angeles Lakers. So let's see what the Lakers are looking like at this point in the sim. It could be a very good team. So they have Bronny, a 97 overall Bronny, and they have Jackson Hayes as well. So we'll take that for sure. This is a very good team for him to have gone to. And if we're ever going to win another championship in this, it should be right now. Elijah Fisher, 37.8 points per game, getting regular season MVP. And somehow we only end up as the 7th seed with this insanely great team. Jimmer only putting up about 11.5 points per game. So I'm not really sure why it's so low, but if he has to take the backseat for wins, then I guess that's what we're going to have to do here. So let's see how it plays out and if we can actually show up during the playoffs. First round matchup up against the Timberwolves, and as you can see, yet another disappointing playoffs as we get knocked out 4-1 in the first round by the Timberwolves. Pelicans versus the Pacers right here in the finals. Of course, two of our former teams in the last about 5 years, both now in the championship, and we're not. Pelicans up 3-1, and they end up winning 4-1. Roberto Sosa actually getting finals MVP. Moving into year 14 of the sim. Let's see where our guy ends up in big year 14. So let's check out Jimmer Fredette. Now chilling with the Atlanta Hawks. I wonder if Trae Young is still there. That would be a fun little combo. He is not. Evan Mobley and Cheddar here, though. So yet again, another very, very good team core around him. Let's see how it turns out. Cade Cunningham gets regular season MVP with the Dallas Mavericks. The Hawks finished the #1 seed in the East with 58 wins. Jimmer really not doing too much. Actually, not bad. About 15 points per game. Shooting very good from the three ball, 44%. Especially because he's taking them at a very high volume. So let's see if we can translate this into maybe a championship. I really, really hope we can for Jimmer's stake. Up against the Magic right here, they do have that dude Leftos yet again. And we knocked them out 4-0 in a clean sweep. Darius Garland was not enough to get it done right there with 33 points. Jimmer putting up 21 and 10 as well in that game. Second round matchup here up against the Washington Wizards. And yet again, another easy 4-0 victory. Let's keep this pace going. Up against our former team, the Detroit Pistons, with Luka Doncic and De'Aaron Fox. and we also knock them out with a big game there from Chet, 23-14. Los Angeles Lakers, our former team, up against the Hawks right here. And yet again, another revenge game. We lose to our former team, the Lakers, in a clean sweep 4-2-0. And then for 2 years here, for I'm not even sure what reason, Jimmer sat in free agency and did not get picked up by a team and has just been regressing. But in year 17 now, I guess, of his career, Jimmer was finally picked up by the Warriors. So I'm assuming this is probably Jimmer's last season in the NBA, in all honesty, which sucks because this was kind of a lackluster career sim. I was hoping he was going to have a much better career, but some of these they just don't pan out, in all honesty, especially because I don't have the control over the player. They just go wherever. As we miss the playoffs by 1 seed here, let's see how he actually ended up doing. Jimmer, 11.9 points per game on the season. Raptors versus the Lakers in the finals right here. And close series, but Bronny, now on the Lakers, gets finals MVP. Kind of interesting, he followed in his dad's footsteps, going from Cleveland to the Lakers. But we'll check and see if our guy made the Hall of Fame and if he ended up retiring, which I'm assuming he probably did. Unfortunately, I wish that this career sim would have been a little bit more spiced up. It was more of a failure career sim for Jimmer Fredette. Even when given all the perfect options, his potential up to a 95, he still could not get it done in the NBA. So I guess that just shows Jimmer did not make the Hall of Fame, unfortunately. So I guess that just shows that maybe Jimmer just was not built for the NBA, like some people might have actually thought he was. And at the end of this video, like always, I'll just let this kind of play, and you guys could look through and see where he ranked among certain things. If you guys made it this far throughout the video, of course, as always, comment GOAT, GOAT in all capitals, so I know you are a true Bean Squad supporter. And of course, I can show you guys some love in the comment section for that. Let me know who you guys want me to do next. I was thinking of some pretty fun resims like Shaquille O'Neal and maybe some guys that really dominated back some years ago. And of course, I do want to do some more of the prospects like Amani Bates and such. So let me know down in the comments. Smash the like button, of course. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Stay safe during these times. Peace. Have a fantastic day.